Welcome to Into the Desert, where we'll be having conversations about relevant issues with respect and without finger pointing. I'm Larissa Munns.
I'm Elgin Hushbeck. I'm the author of 11 books, including Seeking Truth and Preserving Democracy.
And if you'd like to join the conversation, please fill out your comments below, but remember to keep it respectful. We would like to foster conversation and not division. So, Elgin, most people, when they think of democracy, they think of majority rule. But your book clearly says that that's not really democracy. So can you explain that?
That's a common view, but it's not a very good one. It's something the Founding Fathers rejected because it has no protection for minority rights. If you're in the 49%, then there's nothing to protect you. Also, majority rule has a very negative side effect, you end up demonizing your opponents. You see them as the enemy to be defeated, not as fellow members of a democracy to be worked with. So I tend to view democracy, at least a working democracy, in a somewhat different fashion. You need consensus, and you try in democracy to build the biggest consensus possible. When you're trying to build consensus, you're trying to work with people on the other side. You see them as people that you have to pay attention to. And you see the Founding Fathers built that into a lot of the checks and balances when they constructed the Constitution.
So if our Founding Fathers gave us this wonderful system with the checks and balances, and we already have a House of Representatives that's basically majority rule and of the people, and then you have the Senate that really helps the states and make sure that some of the smaller states have equal representation, why are we even having this conversation about the different types of democracy? Why is this majority rule causing so much issues?
Well, I think it's pretty prevalent today that it's not working very well. We have shifted into a type of democracy where the main purpose of both sides is to defeat the other side. It is not a matter of working together to find a consensus, but of getting that 50% plus one so that you can defeat the other side. You see that in the recent elections where the power in the Congress changes hands, and they're both roughly 50-50. You end up with a winner, but really it's a winner by a very, very small percentage of votes that, you could have flipped a coin and it could come out the other way almost sometimes. So neither side is very happy. We're getting a lot of polarization. And it's that polarization that fundamentally becomes unstable in a democratic form of government. You can't work together if your sole purpose is to demonize the other side.
But you say that, but in Congress, you're constantly hearing about how the Democrats have to reach out to the Republicans to get bills passed and how they're creating these bipartisan bills. That sounds like we are working together and we are building a consensus.
Well, the government hasn't completely broken down. There is actually a lot of bipartisan, but it's usually behind the scenes. You don't see it much. But when it does get into the public light, everyone sort of, goes to their corner and starts throwing mud at the other side. So you lack the ability to actually work on a real serious compromise. And even when they work together, they're oftentimes building in things they know will be unacceptable to the other side, simply because that way they get the bragging rights as to they were being magnanimous, but the people on the other side were refusing to work together, and therefore they're the ones causing the problem. It's more about name calling and shifting blame than actually making things worse.
Thank you for listening to Into the Desert, exploring the wilderness of thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe and put your comments below. Remember, be civil. We want to foster discussion and not division.